All right, so I am extremely excited to welcome a very, very dear friend and sometimes work colleague, like on and off through the years, to
Yeah.
the show Sexy Aging. I am probably Kylie's biggest fan, although she's probably got like, I don't know, thousands of people that say that. But I also know that she's my biggest fan. So it's two-way, right?
Yeah,
It's awesome,
absolutely.
and we've been there for each other. So I'm just going to give a quick overview of how I met Kylie. This is my story. It could be completely different to yours, but this is what I remember. Um, Probably 1998 Brazil.
Yeah, I think it was, I'm not sure if it was 2000, but yeah, somewhere around that
Was
anyway. Yeah.
Oh yeah, actually
Yeah, I think.
2000. Yeah.
Mm, mm,
So we're going like 20 years, yeah,
yeah.
which is awesome. So I'm there with the New Zealand team from Les Mills, and you're there with the Australian team from Australia.
Yeah.
Duh. And yeah, I'm doing some stuff with Body Jam, and you come up to me afterwards and talk to me. And I don't remember the exact conversation,
Mm.
but I think it was just that you recognized something that you enjoyed as well a lot, and we basically connected and realized that we had literally the same upbringing.
Yes, pretty much. Yeah, that's definitely how it went.
Yeah, okay, good, because slowly as the years roll on,
Oh no.
my memory's fading a little bit. But then when I was sitting thinking about how do I know Kylie, that's I thought I wanted to share that story. So now I'm going to just hand it over to you, Kylie. You need to tell us, like, who the heck are you? I've just, I've just bigged you up like as a massive overachiever, but
Okay, so yeah, so thanks for having me. Firstly, great to connect with you like this, and I love the name. Yeah, sexy aging. It's great,
yeah,
fantastic. So yeah, 30 years in the fitness industry. Prior to that, was a professional dancer and danced since I was about 10, which was my passion. And no schoolwork, just dancing, pretty
all
much.
dance, yeah.
Yeah, and which led me into the fitness industry and sort of fell into it. Went to an aerobic studio, and then they're asking me, will you be a teacher? And I was like, yeah, why not, let's give this thing a go. And because I had been on stage all my life, it was quite an easy transition and something that I really loved. um, I've always loved to exercise, and whether obviously dancing, but through school was a lot of sports and always wanting to be the head girl, and quite competitive in those days. But yeah, 30 years. Started off as a freestyle instructor, and that slowly kind of died. And when it died, I was at a fitness convention in Sydney in 95, and that's when I first saw Pump, which kind of blew my mind. It was just remember sunglasses, lots of lycra, brown skin, and
Tans,
lots
yeah.
of oil everywhere. It was like, who are these people? What are they doing? And that completely blew me away. I think the biggest thing was just the whole aspect of working with weights, because I love strength training and I love to be involved in that. And then yeah, I basically went back to Perth and hooked up. Well, when I say hooked up, I mean as a trainer, hooked up a nice hookup
Yeah.
with Norm Phillips, who is back in New Zealand now as well, and still involved with Les Mills. And he sort of took me under his wing and mentored me, which was great.
Mm.
And Pump was my first program, and then I went on and did so many other programs. But 25 years with Les Mills, so a long time. And now I'm one of the creative directors at Les Mills International. It's pretty much my dream job, something that I've always wanted to do. And I did it a couple of years remotely from Australia. And then, yeah, felt the need, because I had lived in New Zealand before, felt the need to come back. So yeah, so I'm a creative director, I'm a coach, and I still teach all my classes. That's probably the thing I love the most is
Yeah.
teaching classes. And today I got to teach because we're out of level 2. We're in level 2 now, so we can teach and not have everyone has to be on the dots. So it was
Yeah.
a really fun class this morning. And yeah, so I'm married. I don't have children, but have lots of children around me
Yeah.
all the time. And yeah, I live in this beautiful country of New Zealand. And just, so happy and so grateful for everything that I have in my world. Yeah.
Yeah.
So life's
Yeah.
pretty good.
Life is good in New Zealand. I mean, I
Yeah.
didn't think that I'd hit the ground running doing interviews from New Zealand. I thought I would still
Yeah.
be up in Malaysia, but I mean, that's the cool thing with
Yeah.
this gig is like it doesn't matter where you are. That's how the world has changed. We can still stay connected, whether it's, a one-on-one heartfelt chat or an exercise workout, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
totally.
we just still want to deliver what we love. So even in my part of the world, Kylie, you are very revered amongst all. So I've traveled, throughout Southeast Asia, and you did a couple of years with me,
Yeah.
and I want
Yeah.
to touch on some of those things too, because that leads to what we're going to share on sexy aging today.
Yeah.
But so the instructors in Southeast Asia just think you're a goddess, and as the years roll on, their admiration and awe of you continues. I think it builds. And I think it goes without saying that if anybody's met you or seen you teach or seen you on a DVD or meets you in person, they are completely blown away, first and foremost, by your physicality. Okay, so we'll just put it out there. And in a lot of ways, you've been a big inspiration and a driver for me to take care of myself as well. So I want to roll back a couple of years, well, maybe about a decade, where we were working together in Asia.
Yep.
And we would travel around and take modules and run workshops and basically help teams of instructors be the best that they could be. Well before there was any real structure around that, we were just doing it, right? We were trialing and piloting all these amazing
Correcting
ways
as we went.
going as we went. But some of the key highlights for me was at the end of the day, and we shared a lot of hotel rooms, we would sit back with our trashy magazines, and I would eat chocolate and you would eat nuts.
Yep.
Yep.
Pretty much.
And I, at the time, didn't really sort of think about it too much. But in the last sort of 5 years, I thought, oh my God, she was onto something.
The secret to my aging.
The secret to, how much you've aged. But I even remember back then that you were actively diving into how could you live your best life for as long as you could. And I don't know if we ever spoke of it in that way, but I watched you and I started to learn from you, and it took me a lot longer to pick up the habits. I'll just say it out now because, some of it I found was like, okay, that's just too much for me right now. But a lot of it I have embraced, a lot of what you do and a lot of the way that you live your life, because I can see, physically what it's done for you. But now the most important thing is the mental work that you've done for your life.
Yeah, the mental work. Yeah. I think as you were talking then, the word that came up for me was discipline. And I have that discipline in everything that I do. And probably at some points it's like I need to, I catch myself saying, come on, loosen up, have a drink, or,
I might have said that a few times.
Yeah. And I think my girlfriend's calling me out on it. Right. But I think it's just been instilled in me from a young age. And I'm just driven like that. And I know my boundaries. But you're right. I think I've always been on this path to well-being. So yes, fitness has been a big part of my life and it will always be a big part, but it's more holistic now. It's more, and it has been particularly in our time in Asia it was really important when I was on the road to really look after myself. So I do, I struggle a little bit with women that I coach and in my conversations with people where they say they find it difficult to put themselves first. And that was a really big, when I sort of discovered that women struggled with that, I was like, whoa, I must be so selfish. I kind of thought to myself that all I do is put myself first. But then through my yoga practice and through all the coaching work that I've done, the inner work, I realized that if you don't actually have that compassion and put yourself first, and there's ways that you can do that without being selfish, then what have you got to give? It's like you have to have compassion and love yourself so deeply for others to love you. So that's kind of always been my thing. And when I was traveling the world with Les Mills and, worked with you, Trace, I didn't have a partner. So it was purely all my time. So I could do that. And I think, it's just something that's been ingrained in me. And even though I'm married now and always, my husband is my number one supporter and I'm his, but we still, I still live all those values and I still put myself really first and look after myself because, your health and your whole well-being is so important. It's if you don't have that, you don't have anything. That's my motto. That's what I believe. So yeah, for a long time I have thought about that and I've done a lot of the inner work. I've always been a talker, as you can tell. And I've always liked to talk things through. And particularly with my yoga journey, I found it was almost like finding a faith for me when I did my yoga journey. And it was almost like returning back to who I am, because yoga for me is about connecting back to myself. So when I went through that whole yoga journey, and as a teacher, 200 hours, it's I think I cried pretty much every second day. It was, it really brought me back to what's important, what I stand for, all my values, who I am. So that was really cool. And then through that, it's just kind of, that was like 10 years ago. And then prior to that, I was already, really developing that side. And then the last 10 years have just been really in that mindset field and just working with the transformational coaching. And, it has completely changed my life and it keeps me really positive. I believe that, it's like, even for that whole aging thing. And look, I'm standing on stage next to 25-year-olds who have beautiful skin and all that. But I have beautiful skin because I have water every day. I eat the right things. I fuel my body with the right stuff. I exercise. And so my skin, it's skin of a 55-year-old, but it's still beautiful skin. So I think it's just, for me, is about really looking after yourself and trying to be the best that you can be. And through them, it's holistic. It's not just about your body. And it is great to have, it is important for me to feel good about my body, because then that makes me feel good. But that's through working out, and the whole, way that I work out now is quite different to, even 10 years ago. So that's changed as well. But definitely I see it's holistic. It's the heart space, it's the head, it's the spirit, it's the body, it's everything together. And just doing that inner work, I love that. I find it fascinating. I'm doing more and more courses on it and reading. Yes, you asked me about my books, and we'll get to that.
We'll get to that,
I have just so many coaching books that I read, and I just find it fascinating about the mind and how the mindset can control so much and can control, what you manifest in your body. So, they've got to be in tune. They've got to be working together. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Actually, talking about the mind, and I want to relate it to some of the symptoms that I experienced in perimenopause, actually. One of the symptoms that really kind of hit me, and the reason why I dialed more into meditation and more into journaling personally, was I had lots of bumps along the road around the way my mind started to switch, and it wasn't in a good way. And I think I can recall I was probably about 47, 48, and I started to get these really almost psychotic moments, and started to question my confidence. And a lot of that comes from working in the fitness industry for a long time, and also understanding that the fitness industry isn't always the kindest to seasoned women, even though we have so much to offer on the coaching side, right? So I started to get shaky, and then of course I was hormonal and perimenopausal, and my confidence really started to shake. And I don't think that many people, anyone that's listening to this would even have known. And I'm actually putting it out there right now. So like yourself, I had to dive a little bit deeper into, how can I help my body deal with what my mind is experiencing right now? And if I can get the two synced, then I should hopefully come through this a lot stronger. And that's one of the things that you've always inspired me about, because we used to talk a lot about our personal development and the things that we were experiencing. I feel like you're like 10 years ahead of me. And any chance I get to talk to you, it's just a real honor. You know, I come away so inspired. So I know that everyone else will as well. Did you have any moments like that? I mean, were there any symptoms for you that kind of
Yeah.
shook things up a little bit?
Yeah, I'll try not to get emotional because I had one.
Yeah.
Only one. Yes, I had. I've got a holistic doctor here in New Zealand, a very good friend of Dr. Jackie Mills, and she's my doctor. So I feel quite privileged to have her because she specializes in hormonal women. So it was perfect. And yeah, I had one moment where I just, yeah, it was actually probably for about maybe a few days, or it could have actually been a week. I don't know. It just started to, if I can create a metaphor, it's kind of like, it's just like this fuel. And I just sort of felt my whole body getting heated and everything was steaming out the top of my head. It was so incredible. I can't even really fully describe it, but as the heat was coming, I was becoming very low in energy, and which is not like me at all. And Jackie was the one that, and so basically I was walking along the street and someone that I know asked me if I was okay, sort of, in the general, oh, how you going? And I just remember saying, no, not good. It was just one of those moments where I went, no, I'm not doing good. Yeah. And I walked off. And then Jackie actually approached me and said, oh, what's up? And I just completely lost it. I guess, yeah, I got really upset and I said to her, I feel lost. If I have to describe the feeling right now, I feel completely lost. And the things that really ground me in my life, as I said, my yoga, doing my, yoga practice, my husband, being home, that's really important for me, that security. So all those things, none of those things were actually anchoring me. And that's what really, it put a lot of fear in me, I guess, is I felt like I didn't know where I was in this world. And I've always known who I am and what I stand for and what my purpose is. So it was it was a feeling I'd never experienced. And it was really quite low, like a really low feeling. Luckily, I have a great doctor who gave me some natural creams and things, and I worked with her and we got that sorted. And yeah, but it was quite a I guess it kind of, all these things that happen, I never see them as a negative. I just always think, what do I learn from that? What can I take from that? And what I learned was around the feeling of that real depth of feeling quite desperate and quite lost, gave me more empathy for other people. It was incredible. Yeah. And that's pretty much the only thing that I've had. I mean, that's the only time that it was really bad. I guess, I've had a few, like I still get quite hot at night and all those sort of things. But I'm overall, I do all the, I think it's about so many different factors with the hormones. And finding what's right for you. I think that's the real key. Like, we're not all built the same, we're all different. And it's really about finding what is good for you. What are the things that we can really anchor you to bring you back to yourself, to connect in, so that you're not sort of living out here in this world in which is kind of superficial. So it's like you can get back into who you are, then all of a sudden you're more present. I mean, and I think that's the big thing, is that you're not even thinking about the future so much. You're just present in every moment, every interaction, you look outside and you see a tree. It's just amazing. You're just in the moment. And that's really what yoga has taught me, is to be present. And then you extract more from life, and life just becomes so good when you live from that place. So yeah, so that's kind of my my experience with the hormones and menopause.
Well, I actually think that's going to touch a lot of women, because I hear that a lot. And nobody really knows how to describe that feeling. And when you say just kind of lost, or like you've been unleashed, or you don't have your anchor, and you're using all the tools that you normally use and you're still not feeling grounded.
Yeah.
I think you nailed it, actually, because I've heard that a lot.
Yeah.
Just the sense of, I don't know who I am, and I don't know, what's happening in my life right now. And I just feel like confused.
Yeah.
So
And it's that loss of control, because we are all control freaks to a point, right?
Yeah, and
So
that's scary when you are a
yeah.
control freak, and when everything always goes according to plan, and then this is a spanner in the works that you have no control over.
Yeah. But it's again, it's how you look at it, isn't it? For me,
Yeah.
it's that end point is what you do with it. And
Yeah.
that and also, that's one of the things that we talk about in coaching is like, because sometimes you do feel desperate, and sometimes you feel lost, and sometimes you feel out of control, and then you got to go take yourself back to a time where something happened that was traumatic, but you got through it. So what were the things that you did? Because we often can sort of think like, oh, it's all over, it's end of story. And I work with my clients on this. It's like, yeah, but let's go back to a time, because that you can do these things, and it's like you have got those skills inside of you, those tools are there, it's just digging around to find them, to use them again. And I think that's one of the key things for us as women is to we are so equipped, we have so much inside of us that sometimes we actually don't know.
Yeah, that's true. I want to invite you to hang on a sec. So I picked up on the word tools, and I know that you will have your morning process as a lot of really incredible people do. People that I know, they have a process that kind of sets them up for the day. So would you be okay to share yours?
Absolutely. Well, at the so I've got kind of like a weekday routine that I do and a weekend one. And so my weekday will be getting up at 4:45 and going and teaching a group fitness class pretty much every day. The only day I don't do that is Thursdays. So I then go and do my own training. So I enjoy that. But it's basically, straight away. Well, I must say I have to have a black coffee. So I have the black coffee because it's the pre-workout, have that to get me started. And then I go and do my workout, whatever that is, or teaching, and that's the thing that really sets my mind. So teaching and working out are quite different. So teaching is about giving and sharing, and and then you have those catch ups, and there's so much is happening in the club. So there's different vibration that's happening in the club situation to when I'm just at home doing it. So when I'm at home, it is a little bit more of my time, whereas in the club, I'm there and I'm working, but it gives me such satisfaction that I love that. So that's the very first thing that I do is exercise is the key for me, because that just puts my mindset in go mode, and ready to go and feeling good. Like my muscles feel good and I feel ready to attack the day. I tend to wait a few hours until I'm really, like, my stomach will say that I'm hungry to eat. I'm not like a get up and eat in the morning. So I sort of don't eat until a little bit later, but depends. Every day is a little bit different for me because of my job. But it will be lots of, whether it's going into the office or working from home, meetings. But I guess my main thing will be is just setting those. I have a little affirmation that I tend to say, or I might do a quick meditation. And usually I'm always doing some sort of yoga every day. That's just what I do. So that will always be included in my workout, even if it's just a 15 minutes on hips and some meditation. Because if you're sitting all day, the hip stuff is so good. I actually just did a 15-minute hip session before because I'd been at the computer all day. So that's pretty much it. I mean, I think for me is the other big thing that really holds me into my day is making my lists. I'm a list ticker. I love to make my list and then go through it and make sure I've got it.
Yeah. Are you still writing?
Yeah. Here's my pad.
Yeah.
I still write it. I don't even put it in my, like I should, but then it's like, there's something about writing it for me that's really sort of is creative, because also I find that when I start writing one thing, I think, one just triggers another thing. And then I'm like, oh, I'm going to write that down now. So I just think about these things. And I tend to do that all through my day because I'm terrible because sometimes even I'll start a conversation and I start talking about something else because my brain is constantly going, and my husband does tell me off about that. But if I'm in another meeting and I sort of all of a sudden start to think about, oh, that relates to that, then I'll be writing something else down. So I'm a big note person. I like to make my, my list, because then I can tick those things off and not get distracted, and it just keeps me on purpose. And yeah, I like to work hard and short rather than long. And yeah, that really works for me. So, just giving myself a time frame, turning other devices off so I can, if I'm doing creative writing, then which is what I've been doing today, sort of switch off for that. Then I've had a few meetings. So it depends on what I'm doing, but I think that's plays a really big part in my day. Often through the day, there'll be other workouts and things that I have to do. So, I think that morning one just sets me up for whatever is about to happen in my day. And sometimes it's changeable, which I like.
Yeah.
And it's just being adaptable, I think is a key thing for us living our lives now. So, and even with all the COVID, it's being adaptable and just being able to go with the flow. And breathing.
Yeah.
That's the key thing. For me, it's about breathing. I actually wrote down just sort of, like the chapters of my life, and I've tried to put it into just one word. So if I could share that with you, it'd be quite cool. I know I've just drifted off. That's what I do. So I wrote down that in my 20s, it was about exploration, exploring, traveling the world. In my 30s, it was purpose, searching for my purpose. In my 40s, it was mastery.
Oh, yeah.
And in my 50s, it's peace. So I think that's just something that came out to me then. It was just around, feeling so peaceful and not kind of losing some of that striving or intensity. I used to always operate at this higher vibration, like always that intensity, like got to push, push, push. And I realized, hey, give yourself, a pat on the back. You've made it to 50, you're in your 50s, you're living it, you're thriving, you're just loving it. And maybe it's time just to soften a bit. So when softening, and I've been doing that in my yoga practice. So whatever I kind of do, it's sort of, try and do it through my body, my mind, and my soul, because then I feel like you're living completely it. It's not like separate parts. It all works together. I just wanted to share that because that's around really loving yourself and just finding that sort of peace that I think a lot of women, we want that, right?
Yeah.
We want that peace, that feeling.
When you said the word peace, it's the word that I've literally used every day since I landed in New Zealand.
Yeah.
How
Cool.
funny is that? Because it feels like I've been working so hard for so long, going, and always being, I don't know, wrung out for another idea and another project and do this and do that. And over time, just especially the last couple of years, not even just because of COVID, but the last couple of years, I've just been feeling like, haven't you got enough out of me?
Yeah.
And now it's time for me.
Yeah.
And I felt like if I could find a sense of peace, but purpose, use my purpose and marry the two together and provide something that I was really passionate about, then it's not work again. Like when we got into the fitness industry, it just felt like performing on stage and, oh my gosh, I got a paycheck for that. If I can get back to that, but not put myself through the ringer and enjoy, offering up my purpose, but feeling that sense of peace every day. So you totally nailed it for me as well. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so what do you do to make yourself feel vibrant and sexy?
I think, I was thinking about that question before, and one of the things that I really love is skincare. So I've always been like that from quite a young age. I always wear makeup. You pretty much never see me without makeup. I love to wear makeup, and I love to have good skin. So that's important for me because yeah, I like to just feel good from the inside out. It makes me feel great. So skincare is really important. Uh, I think the way that the way I dress, I think that's important, because it makes me feel good about who I am. I think I do, I do sort of think, am I still sexy? I don't know. My husband thinks I'm sexy.
That's
Do I
great.
think, yeah, exactly. And that's all
Yeah.
that matters.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like I'm rocking it in my, 55. I'm pretty much rocking it,
Yep.
and am proud of that. I think, what is it that, the yoga, I think it's a combination again. I don't want to go back to that, but it's the combination of everything. It's, the food that I eat. It's the exercise that I do. And yoga does make me feel really sexy. Yoga has this way of, so before, when I didn't do as much yoga, there was always kind of like a hard edge, is
Yeah.
how I would describe it, a bit of a hard edge. Whereas I still do lots of strength training, but I do lots of yoga as well. And it just softens you. And, obviously the heart space, yes, the number one, but then it's like all around my body, and it's like I'm glowing from the inside out.
Yeah.
That's what the yoga does. So I feel like that's my
That's
secret weapon.
sexy.
I actually say
Yeah.
that to a lot of people in the fitness industry. I say, seriously, they go, how do you do it? What's your thing? I say, yoga
Yeah.
is my secret weapon.
Yeah.
And then what goes with the yoga is, because you want to nourish your body with good things when you feel good, so all of that just goes hand in hand. So I
Yeah.
think I think that's it. Yeah. But skin is really important for me, my skin. I think that's, because you can tell, yes, you can wear makeup, but you can have poor skin underneath. So
Yeah.
I like to have
Well,
that.
I'll actually be doing an interview on a skincare master for the show.
Cool.
Yeah, for us that love to have good skin, and
Yeah.
obviously there's some challenges with hormones.
Yes.
How our skin reacts to hormones. So I'll be bringing one of those on a little bit later.
Great.
A book,
Mm,
recording, or course, or something that you can offer up to the listeners that
I
you
know.
recommend.
Yeah, and I thought about that question. I've done, so many courses and things, but I think just something that I've found recently is this. I've got it on the app, which is called Masterclass, and my boss has given me that, because no, we're not traveling. So normally we go to lots of fitness events, or conventions and things, and you're always getting inspired by different people. But that's Masterclass has, oh my goodness, it's absolutely amazing. It's only like $300 a year, and you go on there, you'd learn so much. I mean, there's writers, there's acting, there's art, there's just everything on that. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
If anyone wanted to know, and it's on an app, and you can just do it in your own time, anytime.
Yep.
And then the current book that I'm reading is this one, which is called Legacy by James Kerr. What it's what it's about is the All Blacks, what the All
Oh
Blacks can
wow.
teach us about the business of life. And yeah, so I guess the one thing is, like, they still clean the sheds, what they call, cleaning the sheds. And I guess there's a lot of similarities in this book to Les Mills and the company that I've worked for so long, in that, we always roll up the sleeves and we get the job done, and no one is better than another. And I think, they're just principles and values that I really believe in. So that's just an amazing, yeah, I'm not halfway, but I'm reading that one. And the other current book that I'm reading this is a really cool book, because it's about the coaching habit. A very good friend of mine gave me this. So it's about saying less and asking more questions, and
Mm.
changing the way that you lead. It's really simple. And I think for anyone that is of influence, or you're managing people, so it's not so much about managing people, it's about coaching people and asking the right questions, and just allowing people to talk, and seeing, then asking some really powerful questions which can change their thinking. So that's a really great book. That's from Michael Bungay Stenya. Yep. So it's a mouthful, but he's an Australian guy, and it's just a really easy read. I think there's so many coaching books out there. This is a really good read, and simple to read. But yeah, for me, I read lots of coaching books, and lots of books on the inner work and stuff. Um, and I just try and look at the other thing that I do is look at people, and
Mm,
just look at how they operate. What is their operating system? What can I learn from them? I think it's just being like an open vessel is really important for me, rather than being turned off, or and I meet so many people, and I work with so many people of different ages. And I guess a few years ago, when that next generation of instructors came through into Les Mills, it was so refreshing. It was like this ball of energy that just rolled on in, and I was like, whoa. It completely, and it started with Diana Mills, and she has, she's like I'm like her work mum, but I've just seen her grow and to the woman she is today. And I think that's really, it's empowering, and it's like I get inspired by that, so I'm inspired by her. And so it's not an age thing, it's about the attitude. To me, it's about attitude and mindset.
yeah.
So that's why the coaching and really getting your mind right is so important. And then of course we have all that experience and we can share that, but just being open to sort of other people's ideas and open to other people's ways of thinking, that's been a big thing that I've really worked on myself over particularly the last 10 years, because I found myself getting a little bit, closed in, a little bit narrow thinking in certain things, that this is the way we do it, this is the way we do it around here. And I caught myself doing that, and I was like, what the hell am I saying? Like, that's seriously so not cool. That's, it's just not where we are. And the more that I can be more agile and more adaptable and more open-minded, I think, then, it just allows me to be able to be part of all these things and be part of this great life that I have. The more I close down, then the less people will want me around. So I think it always comes down to ourselves and the attitude that we bring and the mindset. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you spoke of people, and I think this brings us to a really good juncture.
Yeah.
Is there a woman that's inspired you, or who inspires you?
Okay, so I had got asked this question in an interview the other day, and yeah, so it is my mum. And the reason why I put her first is because from a very young age she taught me, I come home from dancing and it'd be like, oh, the girl said this, and in tears or whatever, and I'm not as good as that one. And she just sort of, she does it in a very honest, no frills kind of way. And it was just like, all you need to focus on is going forward. And I just remember her always doing that to me. And she said, don't look sideways, because that was about comparing myself to other people, and never look back. And I think that's kind of the motto that I've taken into my life. So she has been that driver, and through all the years of coming home, because you always go home to your mum and it's like, oh, I didn't do it. I remember when I my first auditions, and I remember ringing her from London when I went for the Moulin Rouge, and oh, mum, it just it wasn't how I wanted it to be, blah blah blah, crying. And she'll just say, she had that attitude of just pick yourself up, you've got this. That her self-belief in me, she believed in me more than I believed in myself. And I think that's something that has just, she's been my role model all along. And now I feel like I hopefully am doing that for other people as well, because it's about that belief. And for a lot of women particularly, they don't have that self-belief. And so I
Mm,
want to really instill that in them, and highlight, coaching and doing the stuff I do now really allows me to show them and bring it up to the fore. Like, this is inside of you, all of this stuff is inside of you, and all you're looking at is all the things that you don't have, or the things that you want. What about all the things you have? And to be able to, yeah, we're always going to have things that we want, or we want to be better at something. That's lifelong. It's like,
yeah,
you're always going to have that. It's like, stop focusing on that and focus on what you do have. And then to see yourself in a new light. So I think my mum, number one, because of that whole forward, not sideways, not back, and just focus on moving forward one step at a time. So I've always been one little steps. I'm not like a huge goal setter even. I'm just, because I want to enjoy the ride too.
Yeah.
And then I think, you know, people like you, Trace, I mean, you inspire me. Emma Barry's been a big inspiration in my life. Jackie Mills, you know, all the people from Les Mills, and my old dance teachers, you know, along the journey, my sports teachers, they've all been inspirational in some ways, you know, in lots of different ways as well. And even today, you know, people I meet, and I think sometimes you meet people only once, you know, how you just have those meetings with people and it's like quite incredible. And you think, oh, I want to have more of that. I want to meet that woman again, you know.
Yeah.
And I had that with a yoga teacher I met at Filex a few years ago. And you know, we're still sort of in contact through Instagram, but, you know, and I'd love to see her again because there's just something magical about her. So I think for me, it's so many different people and it's constant, you know, there's always people and, you know, it doesn't matter, what age or who they are or what they do or where they come from. It's just inspiring. There's so many inspiring people out there and they can, and often they're there to help. I think that's the big thing is that these people are just open, like they just want to help, just want to be able to, you know, move you forward and pay it forward, I think is the big thing.
Yeah. I'm going to wrap up our amazing conversation because I don't know if you've thought about this, or maybe I might have mentioned it to you, but we never got to celebrate our 50th birthdays together.
Yeah, I know.
Because you had a volcano and I had a pandemic. So I think it's a sign.
Yeah.
A sign which is, you know, girls, whatever you had going on in your head about turning 50, it's not going to happen. So just carry on. Right.
Put the crown back on and carry on.
Get back out there, carry on. It was just a number. It was always just a number. And so I don't know if you ever thought of it that way, but I am super looking forward to seeing you in 4 weeks in the flesh. It's been... I don't know what, 3 years, and we were usually pretty good, you know, catching up every year, at least somewhere in the world, right?
Yeah, yep.
So it's so overdue, and I can't wait to see you.
Can't wait to see you too. Yay!
Thank you.
Thanks, Trace.